Abha is a 15-year-old girl living in Balswa slum Delhi with her mother, father, 2 older brothers, and younger sister. Today, Abha has started her period unexpectedly, but luckily she has extra cloth from last month that her mother gave to her. She remembers the first time when she got her period. She was so confused because she had no idea why she was bleeding. She asked her mother what was happening to her, and her mother explained to her that nearly every woman bleeds once a month, and it is called menstruation. Abha's mother then took the time to explain to her the rules that she must abide by while menstruating. Abha cannot cook any food, she cannot touch the pickles, otherwise they will rot, she cannot touch any of her siblings, otherwise they will get sick, and she must not enter the temple because she is impure. When Abha first heard the rules, she was confused as to why she was any different while she was menstruating, but has since then learned to follow them. After grabbing a new piece of cloth, she eats breakfast, finishes getting ready, and heads off to school. Abha loves school and finds math and science to be the most interesting to her, and she hopes to become a nurse one day. However, unfortunately for Abha, this doesn't happen. After a couple of months, she finds it hard to manage her period while at school since there are no proper restrooms for her to change. She and the rest of the girls and boys are left to take care of their business in the open field next to the school. Abha refuses to change in the field because she is fearful that someone will see her. She normally wears a single cloth throughout the day, but the cloth doesn't hold up and Abha has to leave school early because she doesn't want anyone to see her soiled clothing. After struggling to manage her period and missing class because of it, Abha ultimately decides to give up her dream of becoming a nurse and drops out of school. At home, Abha helps her mother out around the house, doing various chores like fetching clean water, preparing food, and getting her younger sister ready for school. One day while Abha was fetching water in the early morning, she realized that she had begun menstruating. She didn't have any cloths or extra clothing on her, so she began to panic. She did not want the other women who were also fetching water to see that she had started her period. She had to think fast. Abha looked around and noticed some trash over by a bundle of bushes that was not too far from her. Abha was hoping that maybe she would find some sort of clothing or cloth that she could use to control her period and stop her clothing from becoming soiled. She hurried over and began rummaging through the pile of trash. It was nothing, just a couple of cans, a liquor bottle, and some rotten fruit. Disappointed, Abha turned around to look somewhere else and noticed something behind one of the bushes. She walked over and saw what was a used menstrual cloth someone had discarded it. Abha knew that using this cloth was unsanitary, but felt as though it was her only choice to avoid embarrassment and shame. She thought that it wouldn't be a big deal. She would just use this cloth until she got back home to ask her mother for a new one. Abha hid behind a bush to change into the new cloth and was on her way. Abha rushed to fill her bucket up with water and hurried back. When she arrived at home, she asked her mother for new cloth. Her mother handed her a few, and Abha rushed into her room to change into a new cloth and dispose of the used one she had been wearing. About 2 weeks later, Abha began getting severe stomach pains. She described them to her mother as unbearable and the worst pain she has ever felt. Her mother thought it was cramps from her period and explained to Abha that for some women this is a symptom of menstruating, but Abha did not believe her. She was bedridden for a couple of days until her mother decided that it was time to take her to the doctor. The doctor ran multiple tests and scans and finally deduced what was wrong with Abha. She had an infection in her uterus. The infection stemmed from the used cloth she had worn a couple of weeks ago. What Abha didn't notice about the cloth were the various lizard eggs attached to it. The infection had become so severe that the only option was to remove Abha's uterus. After the surgery, Abha remained in the hospital for a few days so the doctors could look over her health. Back at home, the entire slum heard of the news and branded Abha as a desolate woman. When she returned home, it became a routine that whoever saw her first in the morning had to take a bath to wash her stain away. Abha would forever regret her decision that day while fetching water. If only she received the proper education about menstruation and how to properly take care of her period, Abha's life could have been completely different. Abha is lucky that she didn't lose her life, and her story is not rare. Girls in India are not taught about menstruation and how to properly take care of themselves while menstruating. Instead, they are taught multiple rules that they need to follow and are told to think of themselves as impure beings. The taboos, combined with a lack of education around menstruation, rob Indian girls of their dignity and autonomy. According to the news outlet Quartz India, 62% of women did not know what a menstrual cycle was until they first got their period. Another study done by Darsa and Forbes Marshall found that 66% of girls skipped school while on their period, and 23% of these girls surveyed dropped out of school once they began menstruating. This is not a single girl's story, but the common story of many. Help the future women of India by clicking on the link below and donating. All proceeds will be used to supply schools in India with an educational book called Menstrupedia. With your help, we can give girls in India a chance at a life worth living.